Azapo says it's shocked by the South African Human Rights Commission for taking the PAC to court over the slogan, "One settler, one bullet." The party says the commission should be at the forefront of defending all songs and slogans that are part of South Africa's struggle heritage. For more on this, we're joined by Chris Swepu, who is the Secretary General of Azapo. Chris, thank you for making time for us this afternoon. Why are you shocked by this decision by the Human Rights Commission to head to court over this?
Thank you, Clement. Good afternoon to you and your viewers. It is indeed shocking that the Human Rights Commission chooses to attack our heritage in this way. If you read their court papers, they are acting on behalf of some white supremacists, whose name I do not want to call here, trying to eradicate the struggle history, the heritage of our struggle for land repossession. They are saying that the PAC must remove from all its social media the slogan, "One settler, one bullet." We are shocked that the South African Human Rights Commission should act this way. The commissioners all the way in the commission, they know our pain and suffering. They know that these slogans have been declared by courts to be part of our heritage. Why they act this way is beyond us.
What does the PAC mean by that slogan? What's your understanding of "One settler, one bullet"?
The slogan was a call to action during a very repressive time where our people were being killed by white settlers in this country. So in a context, it was a call for our people to respond accordingly. Now, for it to still be on their website, in a democratic dispensation, should be interpreted differently, because they are not calling for white people to be killed. It is part of their heritage, just like when someone passes on who has been a soldier from Mkondo Wesizwe, they sing "Thina bantu bomkhondo sizimisele ukuwabulala la mabhulu." It doesn't mean they still want to kill white people at this day and age.
So, as you indicate, the slogan is what was chanted at the height of the call to arms, right, to black people on that fight for freedom and liberation from colonialism and racism. The Commission may argue that, well, and they can ask whether that slogan has a place in post-democratic South Africa where, yes, there are other struggles being fought, but it's not an environment calling for taking up arms. What's your post-democratic analysis and interpretation of this particular slogan?
Our analysis is that whatever tools we had used in terms of slogans and songs cannot be outlawed. And fortunately, a court has agreed with us on the Malema case. So we find no issue. What we have a problem, though, is that the South African Human Rights Commission has so many things that it should be pursuing. We still have symbols, Azapo Kruger in Pretoria. We still have the Union Building, which was the unity of the Dutch and the English oppressors, celebrating their unity over our oppression. We still have those things. Those are the things the Human Rights Commission should focus on. But to equate the struggles and the chants of the oppressed with that of the oppressor is completely wrong. We find it out of touch, and we do not understand why the Human Rights Commission are bootlickers of white racism and white supremacy at this point in time. And we think we are just being tested, really.
Where do you think the conversation needs to start? Because often it's not the Human Rights Commission that starts and sort of investigates and looks closely into, in this context, the PAC's slogan. There are often people who will raise some concerns about these issues. Do you think that we've had enough conversations as South Africans among different groups about the political context at the time that required these kind of slogans and songs, and the political system today that still has the remnants of the apartheid regime, and these slogans and songs can be interpreted to be, again, the fight against the system that still oppresses the majority of people in this country. Well, what I'm asking is, are we having that conversation? Because if we were, then we wouldn't have people running to such institutions like this, thinking that when you are singing songs, yes, that come from the past in a different context, you are singing them still calling for a solution to what is currently still an oppressive system of sorts.
Well, we must continue to have the conversation. As a matter of fact, this afternoon, Azapo, in its own online webinar, is having that conversation on the very issue that we are conversating about. But look, Clement, we must also be honest about the fact that no black person has written to the Human Rights Commission to complain about these songs. It is white supremacy that is doing so. So we need to have a better conversation. A conversation that starts with the return of the land and the wealth of this country. The reason white supremacists are so arrogant is because we have done nothing in those two spheres about them. Our land is still with them, and our resources are still with them, and this is what catapults their racism, to question everything that is black in this country, to be anti-black. So the conversation that we must really have is, to what extent have we dealt with the oppression of our people? Why are white people so arrogant when we have forgiven them without them giving anything to us, and everything that belongs to us is still with them? And I think those are the conversations that we must have. Because we are still landless, because we mean nothing to them, we are vulnerable. They are now coming for the little we have, our songs and our chants, which bears no consequences, no violent consequences. They are living very nicely in this country. I don't know why they are coming for us, and perhaps we need to come for what rightfully belongs to us, our land.
And how do we do that? You know, one may argue that the PAC and Azapo are now shadows of themselves. I mean, people will tell you of how even Azapo, for instance, was once known for its intellectual and political gravitas. But that's not what you would say about this organization today. Have you not failed the people that believed in your ideology and your commitment to fight for the return of the land, because now you are a party that's still struggling to be relevant?
Not at all. For as long as the conditions that you have described pertains, these parties would be relevant. Unless you're looking at them from the angle of parliamentary politics. More often people think parliament is the only terrain of struggle. It is not. The strength that you are measuring is parliamentary strength. On the ground, we are with our people, and we are pursuing the land question. And we are very clear that we must nationalize the land. All these piecemeal approaches are not helpful. We must nationalize the land so that it serves all our people. As far as our relevance is concerned, we have remained relevant for as long as our people are oppressed, and our people are with us. We have worked on revamping the party, but certainly our relevance cannot be looked at only on the basis of us not being prominent in the legislatures, which we are fighting very hard to get back to as one terrain of struggle. But certainly we are very strong amongst our people.
But what's the point of being strong and relevant on the ground amongst the people if you can't change their reality? So what's the point of making the slogans about we want the land to be returned, but you don't have the actual power? Because that's where you'll get it. When you are in the National Assembly, you become someone who leads and represents the constituency that you speak to on the ground. Otherwise, you are an Azapo or PAC that has this ideological strength on the ground for 20 years, for 50 years, with no power to do anything about the very struggles you're raising.
Don't get me wrong, Clement. We need to go to Parliament. As a matter of fact, we're working very hard to get there because it's one element of the struggle where we need to be legislatures and do exactly what you are saying. But look, let us not undermine being on the ground. I want to make you an example. AfriForum, which is not in Parliament, has done more for white people than an ANC which has a majority in Parliament. Just as an illustration that you need to take all these levels of struggle very seriously.
Yeah, except AfriForum is not really a political party, is it?
No, certainly. The example here is that there's quite a lot you can do outside Parliament, and you can have a majority in Parliament and be useless, as the ANC is at the moment.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for making time for us. I appreciate your time. Chris Swepu is the Secretary General of Azapo.